And we'll begin our practice standing on the mat. So yes, have your mat facing the device this way. And then you'll be able to, because today is a wrist-free flow, which is great. A lot of Vinyasa practitioners have maybe overdone it with their chaturanga to up dog to down dog and have maybe blown out their wrists, or rotator cuff injuries is another issue that happens a lot. So please do go and check my Being Yoga YouTube channel, and I've got plenty of tutorials on alleviating this or preventing the wrist and shoulder injuries that can be problematic through Vinyasa Yoga. But today, a wrist-free flow. So go ahead and step your feet apart and have the toes turned out. So the toes are to face the corners of your mat. And then starting to synchronize with the breath. So inhaling and taking the arms up overhead. And as you exhale, maybe coming down into Malasana or goddess position, inhaling to circle the arms out and up and the legs straighten, and exhaling back down through the center. So you go to whatever depth feels right for you. And we're simply warming the body here. And then it's yogi's choice. You can either stay in this malasana or goddess, or some people call it gorilla position, or have the legs straight. And we'll do one of these heart opening mandalas. So inhale to interlace and lift the elbows high. Exhale, pressing the palms forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, straightening the legs. And exhale to interlace behind the back of the body. Parallel the feet now, even snow plow them slightly. And take an inhale to lift and open. And exhale, forward folding. Taking the arms up and over, maybe nodding the head yes a few times. And as you exhale, you can let the hands be heavier and fold in a little deeper, taking care of your hamstrings though. Then releasing the hands and sliding the hands down the backs of the legs, maybe bending the knees as you take a spinal roll and emerge, inhaling to take the arms up overhead and to exhale the hands down into namaste and even onto the hips. So not so much the waist, but right down on the hips. And I'll be mirroring you. So turn your right toes out to 90 degrees or to the little edge of the mat, and then lift up the left heel and take that out slightly. So Virabhadrasana 2. Then you can open the arms out and maybe checking in the screen if you can and see that your arms are parallel to the earth. Take an inhale and come into a reverse warrior. So rather than coming out of that right knee, rather deepen the bend and commit to that as you open through the side body. And then exhale into Parshvakonasana, whatever that looks like for you. So some of you might come down, you might even take the bind, whatever works for you. And finding length and opening through your breath, inviting a sensation of grounding through the lower body, and a lightness and an ease through the upper body, even growth and expansion, like in the same way that a tree does. Then with this left arm, you can circle that in front of you, press into the right leg to rise all the way up and bring the palms to touch. So you've got your right leg straight, and then bring the right hand onto the back. You can use the left hand to draw the elbow in. And if you're able to, wrapping around to catch hold. So you're in this Gomukhasana arms here. And if you're able to, just taking, it seems like a reverse warrior as you lean back a little, but with that right leg straight. And then optional to come out and hold here in your Trikonasana. You could have the hand on the shin or floor, of course, but If you're able to, again, get that same sense of grounding through the legs and expansion through the spine, unfurling like a flower or a fern, reaching through that right elbow. And then release and unravel the arms. You can circle that top arm up and bring it around in front of you, inhaling to rise up through the center. And then turning back, so we've got our toes toes to the corner of the mat, and exhaling down through center. Inhaling to sweep up. And this time, rather than bending both knees, just bend the right knee and come off to the right side like a skandasana. Inhaling to flow up through center and exhaling to the other side. Press through the feet, grounded, yet light in the upper body, and exhaling down. And we'll do one more round of that over to the left. And the next time that we come to the right side, we're going to hold. So holding on that right side, keeping that right knee bent, and then coming over into chair position facing the corner at this right side of the mat. Inhale to take the arms up, and exhale, twisting to the left. So revolve chair. Inhaling up through center and twisting off to the right. So make sure that left knee comes forward. Let the pelvis turn as it needs to. Twisting left again. And then twisting off to the right. And we'll hold for one extra breath here. Again, grounded through the lower body. Finding that openness and maybe dialing the chest open the same way that a sunflower dials open to the sun. Inhaling, coming all the way up, straightening the legs. I hope my head's still in shot, never mind. You can then lift the left knee up and come into tree pose. And we're all at different places here. You might like to, instead of just tree pose, you might like to take this Uttita Hasta Padangustasana, taking the leg out. It depends what you're up for today. So find your perfect place and settling in. Still that same sense of groundedness through the lower body and ease through the upper body. And then take the hands around onto the hips, bend into that right leg and step out into your goddess shape once more. Inhaling to take the arms up and exhale over to the right side again. Maybe going lower if you'd like to. And then inhaling to come up through center as we have done. And exhaling over to the other side. Yep. Inhale up through center and exhale back to the right. And then coming all the way down. So use the hands for support and we'll come into this Janushasana shape. Actually bring the sole of the foot, it's like that tree pose shape again, and folding yourself forward here. So some of us might be more vertical, others might be a full sandwich of the chest to the leg. Find your space, find your place, allow the breath to guide the opening. Allow your presence to guide your place here. What position, what shape. Attuning to the inner teacher. And then inhaling to come on up. Bring that left leg around and across and we'll come into Ardha Matsyendrasana. So the left hand behind you, inhale the right arm up and twisting yourself around. And of course, there are plenty of variations that you could do, more of an open version. You could bind if you'd like. But again, it's the breath that's guiding the opening rather than any muscular force or your agenda. Just allow the breath to open your body with the exhale melting and softening. Beautiful. So then inhale, turn the head forward and stretching that left leg back out and then placing the right foot onto the floor. Use the hands for support. So from this low skandasana, we'll come through the center and come all the way up and take that whole flow on the second side. So exhale the hands down through center and hands onto the hips. Turn the left toes out now and the right toes follow on, and the hip does the same thing. So your hips are kind of pointing off to the center, to the side slightly, or to the corner, and opening the arms out into your Vira-2 shape and pausing. Take an inhale and find your reverse warrior, lengthening through that inner left thigh and tracking the knee forward in the same way as the toes. And exhale, come out into your Parshvottanasana, into your lateral angle pose, which could look any way. So you've got the choice to bind. And each and every pose is equal. We're all working at our level with honor and respect for our body in this moment. Maybe you're healing from injury, maybe you're feeling tired, just finding that perfect place for you. And then inhaling to come all the way up. Let the palms touch overhead. And this time bringing the left hand onto the back, and you could stay here. It may be holding on with the hand, right hand if you wanted to, or if you have it, wrapping around and coming into this Gomukhasana arms position. So not a single down dog in sight this class, which might be a relief for some, might be sad for others. But yoga is always different. So arching back a little and then finding your Trikonasana and connecting into the power and strength through the legs so that you can have this expansion and lightness through the upper body. And at some point, releasing the left hand down, circling that right arm all the way up and over to release it, and inhaling all the way up. Turn both sets of feet to the corners of the mat and exhaling down through your goddess shape. Inhale, rise up through center and exhaling over to the left. Press through that left leg, grounding down to rise up and exhaling to the right. So this root to rise, the same way that a tree does. Press through the left foot to rise up and over to the right. And then this time, as we come to the left, we'll come forward and into this Utkatasana, chair pose, so to the corner of the mat. Extend the arms, come up into your chair for a moment, and then exhaling and twisting off to the right knee and up through center into the left. So I have a whole tutorial on the YouTube channel about twists and keeping the sacroiliac joint happy. So do not keep the knees together here. Just allow them to do what they need to do. That will keep your sacrum happy. So then we pause on the left side here and holding this, dialing the chest open. And inhaling, pressing through the feet to rise all the way up. Exhale the hands down through Namaste. And coming into your tree pose, or remember you've got the Uttita Hasta option if you wanted to take that. So it can be difficult to understand, but there is no hierarchy of poses. Just you are receiving the nourishment that you need from each pose in each moment. And our job is to receive, like a tree receives the nutrients, receives the water, receives the sunlight, receive. All right, so bending into that left leg and then stepping out. And we'll take this lower Skandasana if you're able to. You didn't see me do it on the other side, but hopefully you figured it out. So pressing through the leg, maybe using the arms to help you. And this isn't for everyone, especially if you have any knee issues. So next time we come down to the left side, you can use your hands for support and come into, bring the hips down lightly and taking Janushasana. So the sole of the left foot to the inner right thigh and then folding forward. And for some, especially if you do have the sacroiliac issues, maybe better to stay lifted. But for everyone, do focus on that link through the spine. You can still have a light activation through the legs rather than them being completely passive, a light activation there. And adding in more of a melting feeling through the upper body. Bowing the head in. And then inhaling to rise up. Keep that left leg as it is. Wrap the right leg around. And coming into Ardha Matsyendrasana, into your twist. Actually, as part of the rules for twists, lift up that right hip and move it into the twist. So with twists, you want to feel the maximum twist through the thoracic spine and less pulling and tugging in the lower back and especially not in the sacrum. So twist through the thoracic spine, looking around over your right shoulder as deep into the twist as you can. And then inhaling to turn the head and look forward, unraveling. And it doesn't matter which way you come onto your back, but coming onto your back. And because we haven't done any back bends, let's rise up simply into a bridge pose. If you're just busting to do a wheel pose, you're most welcome to do that. If it's in your practice, or if you're ready to challenge yourself there. And then coming on down, opening the arms out, take a little windscreen wiper movement through the legs. You could turn that into a deeper twist if you wanted to, or simply extending the legs out and finding your Shavasana for a few moments. So feel how we were able to, even without one down dog, without one chaturanga, we were able to connect into flow, to take these sacred body mudras, body shapes, and infuse our physical form with the energy, with the nutrients, the nourishment that it needed. and perhaps offer our body a healing, especially if you do have any shoulder or wrist healing that needs to happen. So feel free to stay in Shavasana, or if you'd like to come on up and close our practice with sending our blessings out across the planet. Maybe taking one expanded heart breath, inhaling and opening and sharing your blessings out. May all beings be happy. May all beings be filled with peace. May all beings across all realms be freed from suffering. Namaste, and thank you so much for your practice. Thank you for joining me.